HOA Karen damaged yoga room. Mats got sued and paid $130,000. The yoga studio was my sanctuary, a place where the world's noise faded into the rhythm of breath and the soft hum of mindfulness. I'm Lila, a 34-year-old instructor who poured her heart into building Serenity Space, a cozy studio in our suburban neighborhood. But that piece shattered the day Karen, the HOA's self-appointed enforcer, decided my studio was her personal battleground. It started innocently enough. Serenity Space was a converted garage in my backyard, a haven for locals seeking calm. My classes were small, intimate, and filled with people who craved a break from life's chaos. The studio's walls were lined with bamboo, the floor covered with high-quality yoga mats I'd saved for months to buy. Each mat was a vibrant splash of color: emerald, sapphire, amethyst chosen to inspire joy. My students, a mix of young professionals, retirees, and even a few teens, loved the space. It was our community, our escape. Karen, though, saw it differently. She was the HOA president, a woman in her late 50s with a penchant for power and a clipboard always in hand. She'd been eyeing my studio since I opened it, claiming it violated some obscure HOA rule about commercial activity in a residential zone. I'd checked the bylaws. My classes were private, donation-based, and barely profitable. Legally, I was in the clear, but Karen didn't care about facts. She cared about control. One sunny afternoon, I was setting up for a 4 p.m. class when Karen stormed into my driveway, her heels clicking like a metronome set to rage. "Lila," she barked, "this little yoga shack of yours is done. I'm shutting it down." Her voice was sharp, her eyes gleaming with the thrill of authority. I tried to stay calm, explaining that the studio wasn't commercial, that my neighbors loved it. She scoffed, waving her clipboard. "You're a nuisance. This ends today." I thought she was bluffing. Karen was known for her threats finding people for untrimmed hedges or unauthorized mailboxes. But the next day, she escalated. I arrived at the studio to find a cease and desist letter taped to the door, accusing me of running an illegal business. My heart sank, but I wasn't giving up. I called a lawyer, Sarah, who confirmed the letter was nonsense. "She's overreaching," Sarah said. "Ignore it for now, but document everything." The tension grew over the next week. Karen started showing up daily, peering into my backyard, taking photos and muttering about violations. My students noticed. Some stopped coming, unnerved by her hovering. One evening, as I led a sunset meditation, Karen banged on the studio's glass door, shouting, "You're done. Lila, I'll make sure of it." My students flinched, their peace disrupted. I felt a knot of anger tighten in my chest, but I kept teaching, refusing to let her win. Then came the twist I never saw coming. One of my students, Mike, a quiet IT guy who always lingered after class to chat about mindfulness, pulled me aside. "Lila," he whispered, "I saw Karen talking to some guy in a pickup truck last night. They were pointing at your studio." His voice trembled, and I felt a chill. Mike wasn't one for drama, so I trusted his instincts. "Keep an eye out," he said. "She's up to something." The next morning, I walked into Serenity Space and froze. The studio was a disaster. My beloved yoga mats were shredded, covered in splattered red and black paint that reeked of chemicals. The bamboo walls were scratched, and a window was cracked. My heart pounded as I took in the carnage. This wasn't a random act, it was personal. I called the police, my hands shaking as I dialed. They arrived quickly, taking photos and asking questions. "Any enemies?" one officer asked. I didn't hesitate. "Karen." The police questioned her, but Karen played innocent, claiming she'd been home all night. Without proof, they couldn't do much. My students rallied around me, offering to help clean up, but the damage was done. The mats were ruined, and replacing them would cost thousands of money I didn't have. Worse, the studio felt violated, its serenity tainted. I cried that night, alone in the wreckage, wondering if Karen had finally won. But then came another twist. Mike, bless his tech-savvy soul, had a security camera on his porch that faced my backyard. He'd forgotten to mention it earlier, but when he checked the footage, there it was Karen, sneaking into my yard at 2 a.m. with a man I didn't recognize. They carried cans of paint and a crowbar, their movements deliberate. Mike sent me the video, and I felt a surge of hope. This was evidence. I took the footage to Sarah, who grinned like a kid on Christmas. "This is gold," she said. "We're not just stopping her, we're suing." We filed a lawsuit against Karen for vandalism, emotional distress, and loss of income. The news spread like wildfire through the neighborhood. Some neighbors sided with Karen, claiming I was overreacting, but most were furious. They'd endured her tyranny for years, her fines, her threats, her endless rules. This was their breaking point, too. The court date loomed, and the tension was unbearable. Karen doubled down, spreading lies that I'd faked the vandalism for attention. She even tried to rally the HOA board to evict me, but they refused, wary of the lawsuit. My students stood by me, some even testifying about Karen's harassment. Mike's footage was the centerpiece, played on a courtroom screen as Karen's face turned pale. The man with her was a hired hand, someone she'd paid to teach me a lesson. He confessed under pressure, sealing her fate. The courtroom was electric as the judge delivered the verdict. Karen was found liable for $130,000 covering the mats, repairs, lost income, and punitive damages for her malicious intent. Gas rippled through the room. Karen's smug facade crumbled. She stammered, claiming it was unfair, but the judge was unmoved. "You abused your power," he said. "You will face the consequences." As we left the courthouse, I felt a weight lift. Serenity Space was reborn, thanks to the payout and my students' support. We replaced the mats, repainted the walls, and added a new sign, "Peace Prevails." Karen, meanwhile, was ostracized. The HOA ousted her as president, and she sold her house a month later, unable to face the neighbors she'd terrorized. I heard she moved to a condo downtown, where HOAs don't exist. Good riddance. But the story doesn't end there. The lawsuit sparked a bigger conversation in our community. People started questioning HOA rules, demanding transparency. Serenity Space became a symbol of resilience, a place where we reclaimed our peace. I still teach my classes, and every time I roll out a new mat, I'm reminded of what we overcame. What do you think was justice served, or should Karen have faced more consequences? Share your thoughts, I'd love to hear them.